Episode 4, clarity. This one's going to be a bit heavier than some of the previous episodes. But eventually, if we're going to talk about mental health, we need to get into the deeper stuff. We need to get into the heavier stuff. It's going to have to be a conversation around it. This one's going to be called The Bridge. There's a small little hint in my background of a bridge. Who would have thought? So the song "The Bridge" by John Keith, off his Ramos album, I was listening to one of the first times. This is why I wear the Indie Tribe shirt. Keith's part of the tribe on the move. But in the track, the first couple listens through, man, I was going through the album and I was like, man, this album's pretty dope. It's super awesome. John Keith did a really good job. And I'm listening to it, man. I'm sitting and listening to it. I'm just going through it in my headphones, just bopping. Everything feels good. And I start listening to the lyrics of this one track, The Bridge. And it pretty much stopped me dead in my tracks. I had to restart it a couple times because it just kind of, I started hearing things and I'm like, man, I said, he didn't say that. Like, nah, that's not what he's talking about. But in the whole album, Ramos is kind of like an isolation in a desert area. It's an area that he, that Jesus would go to isolate himself, to pray and think and get, a period of clarity, essentially. So in the situation, John Key talks about it. He gets into verse 2. He says, truth is sometimes I pray that the melatonin works at speed of light. So I can say I had no thoughts of ending it tonight. So I can say that I was fast asleep in God's hand. Therapy won't work for me. How could I trust another man? Yes, Satan must have thought he had a gold mine because I hated me like he hated me the whole time. Accepted everything that he would say to me with no qualms, acting like he's the only one. Oh my gosh, I can't read my own damn writing. I don't even know what that says. I know God is walking with me, but depression ain't disappearing because it's not Houdini. Don't tell me what he said because they're just because you can't see me bleeding. You keep talking like you see through me, then you're going to have to see me for real. True hope comes in darkest places. Because when I made my bed in hell, he was face to face. So I said Cordell maybe. I don't know. It didn't have the word for it. That's my invitation. I know his presence always thick. It's in the thinnest spaces. But I'm still here, still healing. I'm still hurt. That kid somewhere been to the edge reminds me that it's worth it. We fight lions walking through ropes. We live at the circus, but Jesus chose to die so I wouldn't. I'm here on purpose. So I know I botched a whole bunch of those things because I can't read my own handwriting, which is fine. It is what it is. But ultimately, man, I'm listening to this song and it just kind of hits me. I'm like, he immediately talks about how he was taking melatonin every night to go to sleep. I'm never taking melatonin. I don't sleep well. I probably need to take melatonin, but there's a different track where he talks about taking 10 milligrams of melatonin so that he'll go right to sleep. In this case, he's just, he wants to go to sleep quickly so he doesn't have to. So if someone asks him, hey, did you think about killing yourself last night or unaliving yourself or whatever, he can be like, nah, no, I didn't. I was sleeping. I slept good. And, the big line that stuck out to me was, yeah, Satan must have thought he hit a gold mine because I hated me like he hated me the whole time. I've been through that part. Recently, I've been through that part. Years ago, I've been through that part several different times. I'm very emotional, if you can't tell. I go through this shit constantly where I'm up and down and I don't, and I just happy one second and pissed off the next and just, everything's great and then everything sucks. And it's really hard to deal with sometimes, but the reason that line stuck out so heavy to me is, like I said with the tagline here, it said, the devil took me to the edge and let me come back, and he fucked up because he did. Because like he says right there, Satan must have thought he hit a gold mine because they hated me like he hated me the whole time. Well, that's how I felt. I felt like, you know, I was worthless and I was useless and I was frustrated and nothing ever went right. And every time I did something that was wrong, and, and at work, everything sucked. And then at home, everything sucked. And then, with my daughter, I always fucked up. Or my ex-wife, I fucked up with, who I was talking to or what I was doing. And no matter what I was doing, nothing was ever going right for me. Even when I knew in my heart of hearts that I was doing the right thing, I still didn't feel like I was doing the right thing, because it just always felt like something was wrong, or I was criticized for something being wrong, or maybe I just felt that way. Maybe that's just the way I felt about it, whether I was being criticized or not. So I know I'm not the only person that does this shit, that self-sabotages and beats themselves up over shit that they think that is right, wrong, indifferent, good, bad, or just their perception of everything. And the reason I say that is because, I mean, when shit was happening to me in my life, I was blaming myself for it. So things happened in my life that I did not do, that I took the blame for it. And by taking the blame for it, what I did was I allowed myself to just wallow in self-pity and play the victim role, and put myself in a position where, I went into a housing facility for some amount of time, because in the scope of trying to unalive myself, like, I had come to terms with it. And I sat in there in the most useless of fucking places ever. 0 out of 10 do not recommend. It is a worthless place to go, in my opinion. I know it sounds messed up, but it didn't do anything for me. The only thing it did for me was I spent an entire week just trying to get out. I just wanted to leave. I just wanted out. And I couldn't, and they wouldn't let me, and they just go, oh, no, 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 no. But they didn't do anything for me. So all I did was think, and there were days that I thought worse things, and there was days that I thought better things. But all I wanted to do was see my daughter. That was it. Like, that's literally like the only thing I wanted. I was like, I need out. I have a daughter to take care of. Like, I have to get out. Like, I need out now. And they wouldn't let me out. They eventually did, obviously, because I've been out since in January or whatever. But I was at that point. I was at my lowest of lows. I was at the spot where I wasn't happy about anything. I couldn't, like I said, anything that I did was just miserable and rough. And I was cussing people out of my job, cussing out guests and shit, and I was mad at everyone, and I hated everyone, and I hated everything, and nothing ever made me happy. Shit, watching football didn't make me happy, and it's one of my favorite things on the planet. Couldn't read books, couldn't listen to music without just fucking being just miserable all the fucking time. And music can bring you up, and it can also bring you down, but at the end of the day, for me, it's like, sometimes it's just acknowledging the situation for what it is. I take everything at face value. I believe people at their words. What you tell me, if you walk up to me and say, hey, listen, man, the sky is green, the sky is green. I'm like, shit, interesting. But the problem is that I also like to go out and I'm going to check and see if the sky is green. I take it at face value. Oh, man, I believe you. The sky is green. It's crazy. I've never seen a green sky before. And then I walk outside and I look up and I'm like, the sky's fucking blue. Are you stupid? And they're like, no, man, it's green. Or they look at me and they're like, oh, yeah, I said it was blue. I didn't say it was green. And I'm like, the fucking, yes, you just fucking did. You just told me the goddamn sky's green. Not, never mind. And then I just bury that shit and I just move on. Like, I didn't just get gaslit like a motherfucker for no reason. Because you're lying about dumb shit. People lie about dumb shit all the time. And that shit just hits me. And I take shit at face value. Like, you tell me, man, I just, I ain't got no money. Like, could you buy my lunch? Yeah, man, I got you. Okay. And then 2 seconds later, you pull out a $20 bill, like you ain't fucking got. Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, like I could have got it, but like, why lie though? Shit don't make no sense to me. I don't understand that shit. Like you lie about simple, idiotic shit. You could just tell me the truth. And like I'm everything you're saying, I already believe is truth. So I mean, why not just tell me the fucking truth? But you don't want to. You just it's so much easier to gaslight somebody or to tell somebody something that's wrong. And for me, when all that shit happens, like I just sit there and I'm like, man, I'm like I start blaming myself. Like I'm like, damn, I'm like, why did they lie to me? Like they think I can't handle what the truth is. And a lot of times I've literally fucking had people tell me, well, I figured the truth would have just pissed you off. I mean, probably. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It'll probably make me mad because you feel like if what you did, if the truth is a shitty thing and you did it, and then you come back and you feel like you need to lie to me about it, and then I find out that you lied about it, now I'm gonna be more fucking pissed because then rather than you just tell me the truth. If you tell me the truth, then guess what I think? All right, cool. Well, I mean, well, fuck. I guess. I mean, it's just that's not a good thing. That sucks. But I mean, it kind of just is what it is. But I can roll with the truth and be like, all right, cool. Well, acceptance. I can accept the truth for what the truth is. But if you tell me something and you're like, hey, like, man, I'm gonna go hang out with my friends. I'm gonna be over here, and I'm like, all right, cool. And then I don't know, a week or two later, or whatever, I find out fucking you were fucking in Louisiana or some shit, just having a fucking hoedown with who knows, dilly dally and the fucking voodoo queens or whatever. I don't fucking know. But I'm like, you told me you were like the next town over at your friend's house, but you were really in fucking the next state over doing some shit. What the fuck is the difference? Why just tell the fucking truth? So so I take those situations and so I use those examples, completely fake examples. None of these things have actually happened. But I'm like, you do that shit, and so I spend this time now like blaming myself. Like now I'm trying to figure out why you felt the need to lie to me. Like why you felt the need that you couldn't just tell me what was going on and be like, oh hey, well, I just didn't think, I didn't want to hurt your feelings or whatever. Okay, but see, you don't want to hurt my feelings or make me upset. So you lie to me about a situation, and then you lie because you think you're not going to get caught, and then you do get caught, and then shit found out or whatever. And then when I do find out, like now I'm not mad, now I'm fucking livid, and I'm even more pissed than I would have been if you just told me the fucking truth. But you lie about little shit. Like people lie about little shit. So now I'm sitting here fucking blaming myself again, trying to figure out why the fuck why I feel like damn, like am I really that much of a fucking prick? Am I really that that angry? Do I really like? Is it that big of a deal? Am I really gonna fucking step? Because honestly, like I've never stepped off on anybody. I don't think I have. To the point where like I've never hit anybody. I've never done anything stupid to anybody. I've had my fair share of broken items in my home because I get frustrated. But like why do you feel the need that you just can't tell me the honest truth in a situation? All right, so I say all that to say that essentially when these situations happened is I started to blame myself and I started to get frustrated and be like, man, like damn, like I'm clearly I'm the fucking issue. So that's what brought me to the place I was in where I was like, all right, well, cool. So I mean, if this is happening and these people don't trust me and these are the people that I trust and the people that I love and care about, that they don't feel like anybody can be honest with me about any situations. Like, so to me, it was like, all right, well, I'm the problem. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to is I'm the problem. So for me, it was easy for me to take this line and say, okay, he hated me like I hated me the whole time, because ultimately I started to resent myself as opposed to being frustrated and turning my ideals to the people that I feel like wronged me. I just kept internally blaming myself, like, okay, well, it was me. the correlation was I'm the problem. You know, well, they think that I'm going to be angry, or they feel like I'm not trustworthy, or if they feel like I can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth. So that's the feeling that I'm getting from them. So therefore, like I'm just the problem. Like I'm the problem. I'm the one that can't handle the truth, or I'm the one that can't, do anything with it. I'm the one that can't do it. So I mean, fuck it then. I'm out. I'm out. Like, just let me go. It was in my head the right idea. It's the stupidest fucking idea ever. I mean, I have a little girl. I have, a precious, beautiful, wonderful little daughter who's incredibly perfect. And I love her to death. So for me, it's like, why? But it's because instead of placing accountability where it needed to go in certain situations, I took all accountability on myself and told myself that I was the problem and that I was the issue, and that the only way it was going to get fixed is if I wasn't here. Is it smart? Fuck no. It's not smart at all. It's fucking stupid. I mean, it is. Ultimately, it's really fucking dumb. But that line hit so hard because it's like, I mean, I understood it. I got it. I sat back and I was like, this is me in a nutshell. So, I get down toward the end of this verse, and he says, but Jesus chose to die so I wouldn't. I'm here on purpose. Ultimately, I eventually got myself back to a spot where despite, my marriage ending and, rebounding with someone else who didn't bring anything to the table, really, or didn't value my my existence in their life. So, I got to a point where I was so frustrated and so upset that, I mini relapsed on the situation where I just got really blasted and just went off the rails, I guess. But I sit there and read that, Jesus chose to die so I wouldn't. I'm here on purpose. And, that whole situation right there is why I come to this forum when I do, and for what reasons I do. Because despite no matter what you're going through, who you're going through it with, whether it's, a best friend or a wife or a girlfriend or a family member or a child or, your children or whatever, you're going to go through difficult situations. Life is going to be tough and it's going to suck. And people are going to, unfortunately, people seem to be conditioned to lie, steal, manipulate, gaslight, whatever. It seems to be the norm nowadays. And so many of my friends that I talk about their relationships or their people they're talking to or their family members, and people just fucking gaslight and talk shit about each other. Like nobody gives a shit about anybody else anymore. So it's like, be that person. If I can take myself all the way to the edge where I literally got put into a fucking nut house, and with actual people that needed to be there, not me, because of a momentary lapse in judgment of blaming myself and playing possum victim instead of, creating boundaries for myself and, putting accountability in the right places and not taking all the accountability for myself. Like, I mean, I have my share of accountability in the situations. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying that I'm infallible and that I didn't do anything wrong and, everything's somebody else's fault, because it's fucking not. I'm not a fucking idiot. I mean, I might be, but I'm not. The thing is that the situations that put me where I was, and then the situation after, you know, ultimately I created those situations in a way, not necessarily in the ways, like I wasn't the sole proprietor of those situations, but I had my hands in that cookie jar too. So I'm not blameless in any situation, but I'm also not the full blame either. I have to take accountability for my reaction to actions that happened, but I am not the entire reaction. I am not the sole proprietor of the situation itself. I am not the only person responsible for what happened. And I shouldn't be. Honestly, I really shouldn't be, because ultimately, like, it always takes two to tango. So, I understand that I'm going through a situation where I'm my marriage is dissolving, and then I, rebounded with someone else who fucking did a number on me as well. But I have to take responsibility for both of those situations. Like, what did I contribute to my marriage that, helped dissolve it? Or what did I do to save it, throughout the situation? And, there's not a lot of good answers to either one of those questions. And then to, get out of that marriage and then rebound with someone and just allow people to walk all over me and do whatever they want, say whatever they want, and really just fucking, who gives a shit, really? Because I'm always afraid to lose somebody else. Like, I'm always like, I'm just a codependent fucking lunatic who has to have somebody else around at all times, which doesn't help anything, because that's just how I live my life, I guess. But learning those, I'm going to save the majority of this relationshipy shit for another episode. But the majority of this stuff, is what it comes down to, is being able to set those boundaries for yourself, to be able to, put accountability in the right places, accepting responsibility for situations, allowing yourself to, take the good with the bad, but also take the bad with the good. You have to be okay with not getting apologies sometimes. You have to be okay with, accepting that things are going to end and things are not always forever. But you also have to be okay with, how you react to things, and taking accountability for how you react to things, whether it's emotionally or, well, it's just however, whether, you fucking want to throw something, or whether you want to, beat somebody up, or, do what my stupid ass did, and, cry like a little bitch and write fucking notes about being out of your child's life like a moron. So what I'm saying is man, like, in this song as well, he talks about, when he was 11, he was walking around handing out smiles, and what nobody knew was that he was literally going to go take his own life after doing all that. So he spent all day long making everybody happy, and ultimately his goal was to just go ahead and, take his own life. And it's so wild how easy it is to get to that point. It's so easy. It's so easy to, like, just let yourself go and find yourself in that place. It's fucking easy. Satan must have thought he hit a gold mine, because I hated myself like he hated me the whole time. It's such a factual statement, because it is so easy to blame yourself, to be mad at yourself, to resent yourself, to just blame everything that's happened on yourself. But you have to hold other people accountable so that you're not in the mental state that you're in. Because if you're the only person taking accountability for shit that you didn't do, you're going to live in this mental hell yourself. The perception is that you're just going to be the person in this prison cell just beating the fuck out of yourself like Jim Carrey in the bathroom at Liar Liar. I'm kicking my ass. Do you mind? Like, are you going to be that guy? Are you going to be the one who's literally fucking blaming yourself every step of the way for every situation that happens? Like, you're the fucking problem. Or are you going to hold people accountable for how they treat you? Again, good, bad, or indifferent. Sometimes shit is wrong. Sometimes you're going to do shit that you're going to fuck up and you're going to piss somebody off or shit in their Cheerios and they're not going to fucking like it. But it's their job to turn around then and hold you accountable for how you reacted to them or how you spoke to them or what you did to them. But it's also your job to hold yourself accountable for the shit that you did. Be like, damn, you know what? You're right. I'm so sorry. I should have done that. Shouldn't have said that. Whatever. Let's work through this. But it's also part of your job, though, is to make sure that you're holding other people accountable for their actions, not just your reactions. Because like if you come at me and say, "Oh, hey, you're a piece of shit," you're all you're gonna do is you're gonna go punch a hole in the fucking wall every time you get pissed off. Like you're just a fucking prick. Well, if I go and punch a hole in a fucking wall every time I get pissed off, then guess what's gonna happen? Then now I've got to take accountability for the shit that I just did by punching a hole in my fucking wall. But that asshole's got to take a fucking accountability for making me so pissed off and being such a fucking prick about things to make me want to hit a hole in the wall too. Because ultimately, your reaction is your responsibility. But they've got to be held accountable for what they did to incite that reaction as well. Because it's not just on you. Like, if a fucking dog comes and bites me and I get frustrated and I punch a hole in the wall, I said, what am I going to do? I still have to hold that dog responsible for what they did. They bit me, therefore I got pissed, therefore I punched the wall, therefore there's a hole in the wall. But you've got to hold that dog responsible for what the hell happened. You've got to hit it. No, hey, don't bite. Don't do that shit. That's not okay. Like you can't just be like, oh, hey, good dog. Ha ha ha. You're fine. It was just a little bite. No, motherfucker, your fucking dog bit me. Like, bitch, fuck you mean? Like, dog bites you, you punch the owner. Like, I mean, yeah, you gotta fucking own up to that. You're like, oh shit, well, I probably shouldn't have punched the owner. Yeah, I mean, well, your fucking dog shouldn't have bit me either. So, an accountability system has to be in place, no matter which way you look at it. So, my point to all this is ultimately like when the situations happen to me, like, hey, like I'm getting a divorce. My marriage is ending. And we're having a conversation about the shit, and it's like, hey, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened. Okay, so I have to take accountability. I have to sit there and take my checklist of accountability and be like, you know what, hey, this is where, like, I failed in this aspect, this aspect, this aspect. But at the same time, there's two people in that relationship. There has to be accountability on the other side too. Oh, well, hey, well, this didn't happen, and this didn't happen, and this didn't happen. Because if the marriage is 50-50 in itself, or 100-100, whatever it should be, is I'm not the sole fault for why it's not working. There's other reasons. Maybe this didn't happen because this didn't happen. Maybe this didn't happen because this didn't happen, however it is. But there's always different ways for things to happen. And then, you turn around and you stupidly run to the next thing in your fucking viewpoint and just chase that and like, oh, cool, like it's fun, it's exciting, it's new, it's different. It's like getting a shiny new fucking toy. But at this point now, you're still distressed from the situation that happened previously, where you haven't acknowledged the situation, the pieces of the puzzle that happened previously. So now you walk into this next situation and you're like, oh, cool, well, it's fine. Like, I'm just going to fix this and this, and I'll be fine. But you still don't establish the issues that you had on the other side. So, like, I had an issue where I didn't get this, I didn't get this, I didn't get this. So, what about my part that didn't work out? So now I walk into this next situation and I still don't get this, or this. So what happens? The same fucking thing happens yet again. So I find myself right back in the same fucking spot I was in, where I was like, okay, well, but I fixed these three things, but I still didn't get these three things. So I still didn't get what I needed out of the situation, while giving the next person what the last person needed, which they may not have even needed. So it can be a completely different situation. We'll say person A and person B. So I gave person B everything that person A didn't get. Okay? That's great for person B, but what I didn't get from person A, I also don't get from person B. So person B got what they needed, but I still suffer at the end of the fucking day because I lack the boundaries or the accountability for myself to be like, hey, no, I'm not going to accept this bullshit. I'm literally letting people walk all over me like a fucking carpet and just don't care. And then all that does is drive me further into fucking depression and further in frustration and further in anger and makes me just want to like lose my shit again. But the last time I lost my shit, I ended up in a fucking nut house. I don't want to fucking go back there because it's a piece of shit. Getting divorced is tough. Life is tough. Life sucks sometimes. It's a bag of dicks. Big old fat bag of dicks. But the divorce rate is high in this country for a reason. Because sometimes it's just too easy and sometimes it's just shit doesn't work out. I've accepted that things don't always work out the way they're supposed to. I've also accepted that I don't have any fucking boundaries in my life. And I let people do whatever and they want, whenever they want, at all times. And I'm learning what boundaries are and how to establish them and the necessity of having them. Because I can't hate myself like that again. I don't want to go there again. I don't want to be that person again. It's not fun. It's not exciting. It's really shitty. And the fucking place I was in, the facility was fucking horrendous. But I'm not here for that shit anymore. I'm here for this. I'm here to share my side of the story, to explain why I felt what I felt, why I did what I did, how I got to where I was, how I got out of it, how I ended up here in front of my stupid phone and my beautiful little library with my little Superman on the bridge over here. To tell you all that it fucking sucks to feel that way. But if you don't establish boundaries for your life, you'll continue to just roll in the same negative pattern space. If you continuously allow people to have a hold over you or, tell you what to do or how to do it or whatever in every aspect of your life, whether it's, again, relationships, children, work, whatever, any kind of relationship you can think of, friendships, ultimately, you will continue to remain in the same cycle and pattern that you're currently in. I have had to put my foot down and end relationships. And I say relationships loosely, but like any kind of ship with people and essentially push them off the bridge and burn that son of a bitch. Because the boundaries that I lacked allowed things to happen in my life that only made my situation worse. And it's not helpful. It doesn't do anything for anybody else. It doesn't make things easier. It really is extremely hard to deal with, really. Because the lack of boundaries is only going to make you more frustrated, because now your lack of boundaries is everybody holding you accountable for the shit that you do, say, live, eat, breathe, whatever. But it doesn't allow you to hold anybody else accountable for their actions, reactions to anything that goes on with you. So if you sit down and say, hey, listen, I'm not going to fucking do that. But why? You've always done it. Yeah, but you're taking advantage of me, and that's not fair to me. And again, I'm not citing a specific example. It's not an example. It's just a statement. But I mean, for someone to come to you and be like, oh, hey, well, can you do this for me? And you tell them no. By establishing that fucking boundary, what you're telling that person is, listen, motherfucker, you're not running my fucking life. I run my fucking life. I am solely responsible for my life. And in my case, I'm also responsible for my daughter's life. Because that's my little girl, and I will do anything for her. But allowing people to tell me or order me or whatever the fucking situation is, how shit's gonna go down in my life is not how the fuck my life should be, because I'm the sole writer and author to my fucking story. So anybody telling me that I'm gonna do, oh, you need to, no, I don't. I fucking don't, and I'm not going to. So if I don't agree with something, I'm allowing myself to stand up and take accountability for my action or my reaction to the statement. Someone says, hey, I need you to do this. Need is a strong word. I don't need to do shit unless I deem it necessary as well. So I'm not necessarily going to do that shit. So creating boundaries is necessary. Holding people accountable is necessary in every aspect of the situation. So please, please, please don't solely hold yourself accountable for your action or your reaction. It's okay to also let people know, to set your own boundaries and say, listen, I'm not going to accept this behavior, statements, situation, whatever the situation, yada, yada, yada. I am not going to accept this. This is not okay. I disagree. That is okay. And don't let people make you feel bad about it. Like, oh, hey, well, you would have done this, or you did this before. I don't give a fuck what I did before. Who gives a shit what I did before? I used to not cuss before, but now I cuss all the damn time. That person's not me anymore. Okay? I am not that person anymore. So that person may have said yes before. I am saying no. I am establishing that boundary in my life that no. The answer is no. Not going to do it. Absolutely not. Don't fucking care. Too damn bad. Not going to fucking do it. So stand up for yourself, set boundaries, hold people accountable for their actions or reactions. Hold yourself accountable. Always hold yourself accountable. Because if you react like an asshole, guess what? You got to do a little self-evaluation there and be like, hey, dude, like, man, maybe I kind of was an asshole. But if someone does something to you that you don't like, do not blame yourself for that action. If you did not do said action, do not blame yourself for said action. And set that boundary that, hey, I'm not going to tolerate this shit anymore. Don't fucking do it again. If you do it again, there will be accountability, consequence, whatever the situation is. Hey, if you do this shit again, I told you don't ever call me again. And you fucking call me again. Blocked. Oh, fucking well. I told you don't fucking call me again. Blocked. Do not disturb. Who gives a shit? And ultimately, at the end of the fucking day, life is hard enough without everybody's bullshit playing into it. Drama, non-accountability, being a cunt, gaslighting, all this other shit. Just don't be a cunt. It's not that fucking hard. Everybody's life sucks in some way, shape, or form and another. Some people have great lives, but I'm sure there's situations that suck in them. And I will promise you that if you just don't be a cunt, life will be much better for everyone. Till next time.